This week, Republicans made a pledge to America. Our new governing agenda answers the question so many Americans are asking. Will we leave to our children a stronger, healthier, more prosperous country than our parents left us? As we stand here before you, the future of our country hangs in the balance. Across this great nation, mothers and fathers wonder if their children will find the same opportunities for success that existed just a generation ago. Can you blame them? As a result of the economically disastrous policies of the current administration, millions of Americans are out of work today, and our children will be saddled with a deficit and debt that is by every definition out of control. We have more people depending on food stamps to feed their families than at any point in history. The economy is so dire that 1 in 6 Americans has to rely on government assistance for financial support. 1 in 6. The land of opportunity has become the land of shrinking prosperity. Americans across the country are outraged, and so are we. Just as John Hancock boldly signed his name to the Declaration of Independence, so that even Britain's King George could read it, I want to say this slowly, so there is no room for misinterpretation. Our government has failed us. From the billion-dollar bailouts to the stimulus package that failed to stimulate, to the government takeover of health care, you cried stop. But the Democratic majority in Washington has refused to listen. I am speaking to you on behalf of Republicans to tell you that we've been listening. And we've heard you. We heard you loud and clear, and we assure you that there is nothing more inspiring than the common voice of the common man. When you said you wanted a prosperous, competitive economy, we heard you. When you said you wanted a more accountable government, we heard you. When you said you didn't want a government takeover of health care, we heard you. We know that you want a government dedicated to working for the people, and that's why we've written this pledge to America. This pledge isn't about Republicans or Democrats, liberals or conservatives. It's about you. This pledge focuses largely on 3 things: a plan to create jobs, end economic uncertainty, and make America more competitive; a plan to cut wasteful Washington spending and reduce the size of government; a plan to reform Congress and restore trust in government. The new agenda embodies America's rejection of the notion that we can simply tax, borrow, and spend our way to prosperity. It offers a new way forward that hasn't been tried in Washington. An approach focused on cutting spending, which is sadly a new idea for Congress, accustomed to always accelerating it. To put Americans back to work, our agenda seeks to eliminate uncertainty for the private sector innovators and entrepreneurs who create jobs. And it commits to immediate action to change the way Congress works, recognizing that the current structure is rigged to minimize public scrutiny and facilitate unnecessary spending. This pledge is a governing agenda that could be implemented right now if the powers that be in Washington would allow it. We are calling on Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Reid to implement these proposals before Congress adjourns for the fall. We go forward now with optimism and a firm belief that we live in a land of great promise and great possibilities. A land where until recently our tomorrows have held more promise than our yesterdays. We are not ready to concede the fight for the prosperity of our country. We refuse to believe that the same American dream that shone so brightly for our parents have dimmed for our children. We must reverse our current course of action and reject the job-killing policies of the Democratic majority. We will take back our country and restore our right to a better future. This is our pledge to America.